What's up, guys? Here we are once again. We are on episode 9. It is those movie guys. David was literally traveling through time, apparently, which is why we are late. But we finally found him. We got him out of the time stream, and he is here now with us, as well as partner in crime, Jim E. Noble. What's going on, dude?
Hello.
He's literally wearing a Back to the Future shirt. I didn't even notice that in the green room. Oh my God, what a nerd. What a nerd.
I changed shirts right when you said, okay, we're going live. And I was like, You guess what's on my top 5 list?
All 3 of them. Like 1, 2, 3. And then like the 2 that they never made. Like I was hoping there was going to be a 4 and a 5. And so I'm putting them on the list because maybe they'll come.
I'm just going to go entire Back to the Future franchise and whatever comes next.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, Mr. Time Stream himself, David Fott. What's going on, dude? What's happening?
Just working, staying busy.
Yeah, we don't do that on Sunday nights. We come here on Sunday nights at 10 o'clock and talk about things. We don't do work. Come on, man. Come on, man.
We're comic book creators. What are you lying to us for? We don't work.
What are you lying to us for? Well, you how's that lying, huh?
Oh my gosh. Shawnee is here. What's up, Shawnee? Yes. Jack, what's going on? Mike and Trish, they were sending me messages like, where the hell are you guys? I'm like, well, we lost Dave somewhere, and
I literally thought we was going on at 10. I don't know why the hell I thought we was
10:30.
It is 10:30.
No, it's 9 here.
Oh, your time. Your time.
10 Eastern.
What are you going on? I'm like, shit.
This is why I always specify 10 Eastern time.
I know.
Because it all revolves around me, David.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
We're on Tom's time right now.
That's right.
Christy's in the background. She goes, you want me to comment on that?
Oh, man. So, guys, tonight we are diving into the ridiculously large genre of time travel. It says so right there, right behind me. There is no opportunity for us to go through everything that exists in this genre. I mean, even when I started looking for lists of like what are the best time travel movies, I was finding really weird lists. I was finding like the best 30, the best 50, and even when I'm looking at the best 50, I'm like, dude, you don't even have like Buck Rogers on this list. Like, what is going on with your lists? I don't understand. So the lists are weird. The genre is expansive. Some time travel movies are like obvious, like, hey, we're getting into a time machine and we're going somewhere. Others are like I said, Buck Rogers, where a dude gets frozen in space and comes back 500 years later. So there's no real right way to do time travel. And so we'll dive into anything we want to talk about tonight. I have a top 5 that we'll go throughout the thing, and we'll do it with yours too. If you guys have top 5s, we were happy to hear your top 5s as well as we go through. I don't even know where to start here, to be perfectly honest. So I'm going to start basically just with my number 5 because it was a bone of contention here, seeing as how Jim Noble had never seen it before. He messages David and I the other day, and he's like, "Hey, dude, guys, you got to check out this movie. It's really cool." God, and Dave and I are like, "Oh yeah, dude, I have like the Blu-ray. I got the soundtrack. Like, I watched that when I was like when you were still a sperm. I watched that movie." So, for me, my top 5 begins at the bottom. This is number 5 for me. Number 5 is a little movie called The Final Countdown. Really cool. An interesting time travel movie in that it doesn't ever really explain what the hell is going on or why this happened. But basically, the USS Nimitz goes back in time through a big portal at sea, ends up back in World War II, just days before Pearl Harbor shows up. Or shows up before Pearl Harbor happens.
December 6th, 1941.
That's right. So go ahead, Jim. What can you tell us about this?
Well, what my takeaway from it was it has the daddies of Hollywood. It had Martin Sheen and Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas is the captain of the ship. and they go back in time.
What's the ship, Jim? What's the ship?
The USS Nimitz, the nuclear.
Okay, I just told you that.
Yep. they go back in time, and probably. I mean, I think we should also be ranking the best thing to time travel in. And if you're going to time travel in anything, you're going to time travel in a goddamn aircraft carrier.
You might as well take an aircraft carrier.
One of my biggest things about it, though, there's 5,000 people on board that aircraft carrier, and only maybe 10 or 20 people know that they're back in 1941. And then the rest of the crew is just like,
well, they kept everybody below decks.
Yeah.
And they kept everybody cut off until the radio started leaking through the ship, and they were like, what the fuck is this? But yes. Well, and now this is a Nimitz carrier, so this would be back in the 80s. Would they have that many people on a Nimitz carrier versus a now carrier?
The Nimitz is still around.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
But from like the Ronald Reagan, for example, is like the fucking size of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
The Nimitz isn't that big. So I was just curious as to
it's definitely I mean, either way, there's still a few thousand people
sure
on it.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing, it was I'd known the plot about the movie. I knew the plot, the basic plot, because my dad told me about it, and then I just never got to go watch it. And so when you find out that, hey, one of the guys doesn't make it through the portal at the end, and then he comes back as a rich guy, I'm like, okay, so, and like, it shows Martin Sheen.
Spoiler alert, 40-year-old movie. Spoiler alert.
Martin Sheen was like, oh, there's the boss. And then they're like, no, that won't be necessary to meet him. I'm like, I bet you it's him in that car, and he's not supposed to meet himself. So the whole, most of the movie, I'm like, okay, so clearly Martin Sheen's the one that's going to be left behind. And then there's the one guy who saves the woman. And I'm like, well, why are they focusing on this guy? He seems like a kind of throwaway character. And then I realized, I'm like, that's the guy. They're going to leave that guy behind.
That's the guy. Yeah.
and then he comes, the ending, they come back, they're going to stop Pearl Harbor. And then right when they launch the ships, the planes, the portal comes back, and they're like, okay, everyone come back. We're going back through the portal now. Abort. You're not doing this. Just get back. And then they go back, and Hitler's not president, so everything is fine. But what I didn't like is Martin Sheen and Kirk Douglas are walking off the bow of the ship, and Kirk Douglas is like, well, you're a pain in the ass, but it was good to know you. They shake hands. Kirk Douglas walks back onto the ship, and Martin Sheen walks to where literally the Navy officer that he just met 40 years later is sitting in the car waiting for him, and he's rich now. But it's like, wouldn't Kirk Douglas have a more connection with this guy than Martin Sheen really did?
Well, but I think the trick there is, two things. Number one, it's Tideman Industries, so he works for that guy.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, in the movie, it was always, and I can't think of the dude's name. It's Lasky was Martin Sheen, but I can't think of the officer's name. They were the ones butting heads like the whole movie. Like, hey, Martin Sheen wanted to go in and be like, hey, we could stop Pearl Harbor. And then the other dude is like, fuck you, this has already happened. What are you talking about? So they were always doing this. And so I think that was kind of the cue for the finale. But yeah, no, I do get, because the officers were working together for a long time. But from a personal standpoint, I think that's where that comes from. That's called writing, Jim.
Yeah, I love how he's like, we shouldn't be messing with time when it's already set, and then he gets left behind. He's like, hey, by the way, I'm super rich because I messed up time, and no.
Yeah, well, that's a hot tub time machine. Yeah, I decided to stay. I know some shit. We're gonna make some money. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Yeah. No, I dug this movie. It was really cool. It's the age of everything was real. They were on the ships. They had the planes. There was no CG. Yep. I mean, the portal was CG, but
loved it.
The planes taking off, the planes landing. It's like, this is literally like a PSA for join the Navy, aircraft carrier. Yeah.
Yes. And you might go back in time.
Yeah, and there might be a time portal somewhere out in the Pacific Ocean. I hope I get stationed in Pearl Harbor, man. That's great.
What'd be cool? Somebody should take that portal and just write a story about it, like Final Countdown 2, but don't call it that. Just be like, You could have like a boat just like cruising out, be like, hey, we were out on this is where they filmed this movie, and then whomp, this thing shows up and they go through it. Like that would be fucking funny.
Oh no, like what if they go back in time to be at the filming of the final countdown, and then they end up as background characters in the movie, and then you go back and watch the movie and you're like, oh my god, they're so and so.
Because that's copyright infringement.
Yeah. That's called the Twilight Zone, Jim. It's called the Twilight Zone.
Copyright infringement. No, but I think that would be an interesting thing to because time travel is time travel. But if you can kind of coattail that and just be like, holy shit, I saw this in a movie, man, and then like it's your boat goes through the thing, and then you're wherever the hell you go and you tell your story, and then you come on back again. I think that'll be kind of funny, and I think that people that know this movie would be like, oh, I get it, I get what happened here.
I also love that when they call Pearl Harbor and they're like, hey, by the way, Japanese are going to attack tomorrow, and they're like, what ship are you on? And they're like the Nimitz, and they're like, what? Why would we name a ship after a commander?
Yeah.
It was good. I don't really see any flaws in the movie. Like it was really tight. And part of that is just because the story was simple. They didn't get involved with anything. It was always on the ship. It was just them figuring out like, okay, are we going to do this? Or are we not going to do this? So the only time that you had monkeying with the paradox theories was they saved a dude who was supposed to die.
Yeah.
They saved a senator who was supposed to die from this Zero attack. And then that's what kind of set all of this craziness into play. And then there's little twists and turns with the senator and this one naval dude and the dog and so on.
The dog.
I love how one flare gun immediately blows up a helicopter because that's how that works.
Well, it's on the inside though, dude.
Yeah.
It went off on the inside. It's not like it bounced off the hull.
Yeah, but the helicopter wouldn't have just kaboomed right there. Like, it's a flare gun. It's a flare. It would have hit the bulkhead.
It's a glorified fireworks, so maybe.
It would have hit the wall and then just land on the deck. And then, you see, look, I'm using Navy terms.
Shut up, Jim. Shut up. You're taking me out of the movie.
Navy,
Shut up.
Well, it's like.
Listen, the history of flare guns in movies is notorious. Flare guns go off all the time, and they're big problems.
You know that senator was gonna have to die because they're like, well, he's definitely gonna. It's like in Hot Tub Time Machine. He's gonna lose his arm.
Yeah,
but you just don't know how he's gonna lose his arm.
Don't know when or where.
What's the other famous flare gun movie? Come on.
Jurassic Park.
Well, that's yes and no. No, come on. It's The Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
You just hear about it. It went off in my locker.
I was gonna commit suicide by shooting myself with a flare gun.
So see, it blows things up. It blows up heads anyway.
Well, it didn't blow up his head. It blew up his. It blew up his project.
Blew up his locker.
Yep.
Oh my god. All right. So there's my 5. David, you've seen this movie, right? You said you've seen it.
Yeah. I just kept quiet. Yeah, I've seen it. In fact, I wanted to see it when I was a kid because I seen the trailer back at the drive-in, and when I first saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh shit!"
See, this for me was a movie rental. It was like we were at a video store and my dad rented it, and I was like, "Okay, whatever, let's watch the movie."
What happened to me, years and years later, I never did go to the drive-in and see it. So when I got a VCR in a video store, I was like, "Oh shit, there's the final countdown. That's that trailer I seen back when I was a kid." So I immediately rented it, and since then I watched the hell out of it. Yeah, I love it. It's just so, and it kind of creeps me out a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know why. I guess because it's all practical. Sometimes practical work kind of creeps me out a little bit.
Well, yeah, everything. I mean, it's there probably was a little bit of model work in there in some cases, but but nothing that was like what we get now. I mean, nowadays the whole thing would have been CG. All the planes would be CG, whatever. Speaking of, just really quick tangent. Top Gun, that fucking movie looks like it's going to be insane because it is all practical stuff. Like even Bruckheimer and Tom Cruise were like, "Yo, man, you can't do this movie unless you're in the cockpit." They made cameras for it so they can be in the cockpit. Like, it's going to be insane. I think should be fun.
I'm looking forward to that one.
when I was watching the final countdown, I kept thinking about Top Gun because I was like, well, what was the next Navy movie that they did after this? And I was like, well, Top Gun came out like
Top Gun.
6 years after this, and like you compare the flight scenes in Top Gun compared to this, it's like holy shit.
Yeah.
It's
God,
like
dude.
night and day. Like goddamn, like it was like, and like
Have you
ugh.
seen Top Gun in 4K, Tom?
No.
Holy shit, dude. It's like the Jaws step up. I'm not kidding you. It looks glorious.
I don't doubt it. I mean, the Steelbook's out, so I haven't gotten it yet.
I haven't either.
But no, I mean, based on the Jaws restoration, I can imagine it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's party.
So I'm gonna go off. So we did my 5. You guys can jump in with your list whenever you want to do it too. But I'm gonna go. We're gonna do the Tom Cruise segue. See how I did this? Anybody seen Edge of Tomorrow or Live Die Repeat?
Yeah.
However you know the title.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
That one.
Now basically it's just Groundhog Day, sci-fi Groundhog Day. But I thought it was pretty good.
Yes.
It was fun. A lot of the choices that we have tonight, at least in my case, are really based on rewatchability. Like, there's plenty of movies that I like, but I really don't necessarily want to put them in the VCR again and like watch them right now. And so that's why they don't make my top of the list. But Edge of Tomorrow, Live Die Repeat, it's definitely in the top 10, and it was a fun movie. What was it? Emily Blunt was a cool. I don't know, whatever they were, warrior people, fighter guys and gals in their crazy armor.
And then Bill Paxton cameo too. Was it Bill Paxton that was in it? That played
he was like a sergeant or something. Yeah, he was like a drill instructor of some kind or something. Yeah.
Bill
I
Paxton.
really like that one. I had a friend of mine, like, I really didn't want to see it, and he's like, "You've never seen Edge of Tomorrow?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Dude, we're watching it right now." And I literally went out the next day and bought it. No shit. I was like, whoa, this is, to me, I loved it. It was, great. Groundhog Day, set in a battle. And I loved it because, spoiler alert, they actually explained why it happens.
Sure.
Like, they just don't go, oh, it happens, and that's it. No, they explain why Tom Cruise is going through this shit. And I like that aspect of it. And they kind of play with that aspect of it. Yeah, I liked it. In fact, I need to rewatch that soon.
What's oh no?
What's oh no?
Oh, he just froze again. That was his oh no. He's like, oh no, I'm frozen.
Let it go. Let it go. There he goes.
Oh my gosh. There he goes.
There he is.
There he goes.
God damn it.
He's repeating what he done.
So let's go outside the lists and tell me some of the stuff that you guys like that you've seen that are sort of the obscure time travel stuff.
That's not
because I know there's a crap ton. Like we were talking about Donnie Darko earlier.
Yeah.
We were talking about like what was that? 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys.
Things like that.
The one that I really like, and it's a horror movie, and I know I'm probably going to get hell for it. I really liked it. I saw it twice. It's one of those I don't want to see all the time, but I'll watch once in a while. I love the Butterfly Effect. If you've never seen Butterfly Effect,
that's on my list. Butterfly Effect. That's on my top 5.
God, dude, and yeah, I love how this dude like puts himself through hell just to try to fix this girl's life because he loves her, and he goes through shit, and then
blowing off limbs.
Yeah, blowing off limbs and shit and everything and all. And did you hear about the original ending though that they was going to use?
There's 2 endings. Yeah, there's 2 endings. The extra endings on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, good lord.
What's the other ending?
Anything here because I don't want to spoil if nobody's seen it. But that original ending, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
Crazy.
I really like if you look back at what Ashton Kutcher was doing at the time when he came out with that movie. Like, you mean to tell me that the guy from Dude, Where's My Car and Kelso from that 70s show is going to be in this movie? And then, like, I mean, he does a great performance. I mean, good gosh.
To me, it was like Paul S. Anderson doing Resident Evil to when he done Event Horizon, because I love Event Horizon. and then he goes to do a Resident Evil. I'm like,
the hell is this shit?
what the hell happened? Oh yeah, Emily Blunt, thank you.
Yeah, I really like the butterfly effect, and doesn't get enough love that it deserves. Apparently, there's a sequel.
I was just gonna say, there's a sequel. Has anyone seen the sequel?
I have, and they're terrible. Don't mess with them.
There's more than one sequel.
I think is it 3 or 4? I know there's 3.
Oh my
Jesus.
god!
There's 2 and 3. There's a trilogy.
Are they worse than Jason Goes to Hell?
Oh, well, since Jason Goes to Hell is such a time traveling movie, you can't really compare.
And we are on episode 9.
I had to bring it up. Where in the hierarchy did it? No, okay.
I just remember the second one had Erica Durance in it from Smallville.
That rings a bell. I knew there was a second one. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and then the third one, I don't remember who the hell was in it. It was straight to video, and
well, they're all straight to video. Even 2 didn't make it to the theater.
There's 3. There's the Butterfly Effect 2, the Butterfly Effect 3, Revelations.
Oh, Revelations! Ashton Kutcher returns.
I wish. No, Chris Carmack. Who the fuck is Chris Carmack?
Yeah, see, and I watched it, and I was like, I was just bored one night and watched it. I was like, I'm gonna watch this. What the hell? And
he's one of those teen heartthrobs. He was in the OC.
Welcome to the OC. Did you guys watch the OC at all?
I maybe watched a few episodes because my sister was really into it. If
this had been out, if the OC had happened now, this would have been a meme for all time. And I don't know how it's not already. In the first one, the TV show is so fucking stupid. But this guy basically comes from nowhere, gets adopted into this crowd of rich kids and so on. And when they go to the beach, he gets in a fight, and he kind of gets his ass kicked. And then the guy who beats him stands over and goes, "Welcome to the OC, bitch." And I was like, "Oh my god, it's terrible. It's just terrible."
Oh wow.
Yeah, welcome to the OC, bitch. That used to be a thing back in the early, I don't know when,
like
2000s.
Oh, go get him, cuz. I'm sorry, I love that movie.
So we're talking, we're in the world of the superhero movie, and there is there's a couple of time travel superhero movies, of course. Endgame, right? Yeah, they went back in time.
Every time travel movie.
Oh yeah,
making all those fictional movies.
The only one that the one that pops to mind for me that I liked, a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it, was Days of Future Past, which was, I think, the second one of those of the sort of the first class run.
It
was the 60s, and then they did the 80s. Yeah.
I like that one. 70s. Yeah.
Or the 70s. Yeah, you're right. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I thought it was probably, I liked First Class, but I thought it was the best of the entire X-Men pocket that they were doing. It told a similar story while still making itself its own, which is a big thing for me, because I don't just want these like adaptions of comics. Like, I've been here, I've done there. I don't want to do it again. So I liked how they modified it, changed it a little bit.
Evan Peters is Quicksilver.
Yeah.
The what?
Evan Peters is Quicksilver.
Yeah.
In that movie,
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Really little guy, I can't think of his name now. Game of Thrones dude. Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage. Yeah. I thought it was really good. I thought it was probably one of the best superhero movies that we've had in a long time.
Yeah, did you see the other cut? What was it called? The
Rogue cut. Yeah, there was like a Rogue. Yeah, it didn't really do it. It was pointless. It was pointless. Yeah. It was just there to put Rogue into it, which she had no real reason to be there. So, people were like, "Why is there no Rogue?" Well, because there's no space for her. It's not her story.
Yeah, there's a reason why there's no Rogue in that movie, which they was going to reveal, but they never did. So they said in the making of. So, and then they got all pissy and brought her in to film some scenes, and
Rogue just was never used well.
She never was.
She is like
Miss Marvel thing. There you go.
Yeah, well, that'll never happen. Well, I can't say that based on what's happening with WandaVision. I guess I can't say never. But
real quick, because I watch How Is WandaVision.
I don't watch it. I just listen to the people say the spoilers.
It's all right. I don't want to say it. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I don't give two shits about the characters, so I
See?
can't. It just doesn't mean anything to me.
I'm the same way. I hate to say it. Don't like shit me fan mail or anything, but I'm just like,
I just don't like the characters. Like they've never meant anything to me. So, and it's the same thing with Netflix, like Daredevil and Punisher and
I never got
Jessica
into
Jones. They're just not characters for me. I just don't care.
Iron Fist.
Woo.
Yeah.
Oh, Iron
Well,
Fist.
speaking-
The whole
Speaking of time travel comic book movies, you forgot the best one, and it's a Will Smith movie, Men in Black 3.
Men in Black. I just watched that the other day. Yeah.
Because nothing says you have to time travel by jumping off the Empire State Building.
Yes.
That is another movie I would not watch. I'm like, I hated the second one. The second one I went to the theater. I was like, bleh, I walked out. I was like,
it's got my boy Johnny Knoxville, man. How could you not like Men in Black 2?
Sorry, but a friend of mine made me watch the third one. And I'm like, I don't want to see it. And he's like, yeah, you do. Trust me.
Josh Brolin.
And
Brolin was great, man. He was channeling Tommy Lee Jones. It was amazing.
It was amazing.
So good. I mean, it's not like it's not in my top 5, so clearly it's not that good. But no, I think it definitely picked up the slack where two.
And it's got what's his name in it from What We Do in the Shadows? I like he played the evil dude. Oh, Christy, come on, Jermaine
Jackson.
No. He played in What We Do in the Shadows and
Jermaine Stewart.
Dinner for the Smucks. That was the artist. Jermaine something. He plays in Fly the Conchords, the band.
And he played the main bad guy.
Yeah, he played the main bad guy on the third one. I just love watching him act anyway. What, you guys haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows?
The TV show or the movie?
Jermaine Tom, get off this son of a bitch here in a minute and put on What We Do in the Shadows.
The TV series is phenomenal.
And then watch the TV series.
Who is he? I can't even remember the villain in Men in Black. He wasn't a human, right? He was
he was
the animal.
The animal. Yeah.
I remember now.
I
didn't recognize him.
It's Taika Waititi that directed it.
Waititi or whatever.
Yeah.
He's the guy with curly hair and glasses and Fly the Conchords. I know what you're talking about now. Bill Hader's in it.
Oh my God. I just had a stroke.
Yeah, it was good. I again, it's not one of those that it's like I'll watch it anytime, but
okay,
it's fine. It was fine. Yeah,
I think you'll like the movie.
Tim, I bought it. We bought it for Christmas.
I have it. I own it. Watch it once a year.
Yeah. All right. So Jim, give me your number 5. What's number 5 on your list?
I'll go with Butterfly Effect as my number 5.
Oh, okay. So we already talked about it. So we'll move right on.
That was right on. What about you, David?
So Butterfly Effect is not on my top 5, but it is in my honorable mention list that I have here. We've talked about a few of my honorable mentions, so it's definitely there. What's your 5, David?
Oh, Butterfly Effect. That's one.
Oh, Jesus! You guys just have the same list.
Yeah. See, so far we're the same list.
Jeez, ridiculous.
So we're
gonna go to 4 on my list, and we'll keep chatting. 4 on my list, is dun 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 Time Bandits.
Yes,
that's a good one.
Time Bandits, dude.
That's a good one.
That's an honorable mention for me, but that's pretty. It's like if it's not number 5, it's number 6.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and a lot of the movies that didn't make my 5 were like right below there. So yeah, this just came out on Criterion not long ago. They released a thing on this.
Oh.
So I grabbed it because everything was like half off at Christmas time. So I was like, yeah, we'll just get some of this.
Could pick up that one too.
It's so great. I always wanted a sequel to this movie. When you get to the end and Kevin's got the piece of evil and then he finds the picture of the map, which is this picture. It's like, are we getting more? Like, give me more of this right now. But what a crazy movie.
It's such a mind, like when you watch it as a kid, you're like, what the hell is this? Like, what's going on?
Exactly. You're like, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah, but but while you were saying what was this, everything was like totally, you were engaged. Like,
oh yeah,
holy shit! Like everything, the visuals were great. The actors were great. It was all practical effects. Again, you're talking about the 80s, so it's all practical effects. It was great. It was great. Even the kid is not like a terrible actor in the thing. You know, Sean Connery is Archimedes, or not Archimedes.
He's Agamemnon
fighting a Minotaur. I mean, you have Napoleon stuff, which most of us didn't understand what Napoleon was.
Yeah.
But then you had Robin Hood, which was great, which was John Cleese, right?
Yeah. Yep.
John Cleese is Robin Hood, and then that dude who couldn't like talk, he's like, and he punching people out. It's like, here's a piece of gold. Is that really necessary? I'm afraid it is. Okay. Shelley Duvall is in it.
Yep.
Man, and so you have Napoleon times, you have Robin Hood, you have Agamemnon. You go into Greek mythology and stuff. You go on the Titanic. Which again is something that went right over kids' heads, but you still understood that the boat sank. And then when you go into the time of legends, then it all just gets super crazy. And at the end, you find out, and again, you don't know this as a kid, but in the end, you find out that it's basically just a movie about consumerism.
Yep.
Because everybody wants the microwave that turns food into something in 10 seconds. And that's the most valuable thing in the world. But it was great. It was great. It had a really fun finale where they go back in time and they're bringing out cowboys and archers and stuff to like fight the ultimate evil guy. It was cool. I think the visual more than made up for the stuff that I didn't understand. Kenny Baker, yeah, of course.
Yeah, Kenny Baker's in it.
Man, there's so many good. Like David Warner's in it. It's a really well cast. Really well casted film.
Yeah,
and it's a British film, right? That was released in the UK and then the US.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's totally British. Everybody in that movie is British, basically. Yeah.
It's like
we all were, and we all were.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any kid that watched that movie is like, I get it. I completely understand what's going on here. Like,
movie.
No, you don't.
I'm going to write a report on it for school. I'm going to do this, and it's going to blow people's minds.
I mean, I just remember the giant with the boat on his head, and you come out of that movie and you're just like, what did I see? What did I see? And then you got to go see it again because there's so much more to see.
It's definitely you can't watch it once and then go, yep, I'm done. Like you have to go back and watch it again. 100%.
Yeah. Time Bandits is a classic. It is a classic. It feels odd that it's not higher on my list, but that's where it is. So what's your 4, Jim?
So my 4, and this was originally going to be my number 5, but I can't make it number 1 or number 2 or number 3 just because of the fact that it's number 1 on a lot of my other lists. So number 4, Army of Darkness. And if you want to count Evil Dead 2.
Shit.
Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2. I guess I'll put those in the same because technically the end of Evil Dead 2 is the middle of Army of Darkness.
Yes,
so.
they're connected. Yeah. Army of Darkness. I mean, it is a time travel movie, but it is also one of the most basic time travel movies.
Yeah.
Like he literally conjures up the spell.
Basically, he falls through the thing that's in Final Countdown.
Yeah, it's almost the same exact portal. I was just about to say that, like literally it's the same portal except in the woods.
That was in Monster Squad. It's all the same ones.
There's a portal just moving around, pulling the guys through.
Your town,
movie studio, and then each director's like, "All right, I got a movie for this one."
That's funny. That's funny.
You get the drops that he has to drop, and then he's like, "Was it 3 or 4?" And then you have the unaltered
the unaltered ending
where he does the 4 drops, and he's like, "I went too far."
Yeah, that's true. So he time travels twice. That's true. That's true.
And it's like a Dolly painting where like everything's just like this. It's a post-apocalypse, melted, destroyed. Like, and he's got the long beard.
It's like the long beard.
Did they explain how he got from because that was an alternate ending, so it didn't happen. That's right. That's right.
So yeah, that was the original ending, and then they're like, "Nah, we gotta make it to the one where he's at the shop, at the S Mart." But Yeah, I guess if they did that ending, it would be hard to explain Ash versus Evil Dead like 20 years later.
Well, yeah,
but
that's what I was going to say. Did they explain how he got back from the post-apocalyptic place?
they would have to.
Yeah.
They literally, like the first episode would have had to been like, "Here's what really happened at the end of Army Darkness."
Yeah, retcon, reboot.
That's how they could do like a retcon of the series. Just like start from there and
Well,
go.
When you watch Ash versus Evil Dead 2, like they don't really mention Army of Darkness at all. Like it's not really referenced at all. It's mostly like he went up to the woods with his friends and then he murdered them all. Like that's so it's Evil Dead 1, but they never mention 2 or they never mention Army of Darkness. Which seems kind of weird. It's like, oh, you're not going to mention that he went back in time. I guess him killing his friends in the cabin is more sense than, yeah, I killed my friends and then I went back in time to the 1300s and then I saved the kingdom. Oh, did I tell you that there's a guy named Arthur and he was a king?
And there's the guy named, was it Eric? Not Eric the Red, but
Eric the Red.
The Red.
Yeah, Eric the Red.
Yeah.
I think it was Eric the Red.
Or something.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Ted Remy played like 4 different characters. There was one guy that like looked like 4 different people. It was weird.
Did he play the fart creature too in the pit? I think.
He played one of the creatures of Pit. He played the farmer.
Sam.
Yeah,
He played a peasant. He played a knight.
Well,
can't remember what else he played.
And
Something
Bill
else.
played the evil Ash. Bill Moseley.
Yeah, Bill Moseley. Bill Moseley played the commander of the army.
Yeah.
And he couldn't see. They put him on a horse, and he can't even like he could see like this much.
Yeah, like
out of
said
the
he can only see
contacts
like
that they
this
put
much
on.
under his eye.
out of one eye, because his other eye was an eye patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, needless to say, Army Darkness. I mean, you can't go wrong. Army Darkness. It's a great film.
Damn, what should I have thought of that? I never thought of that one being a time travel movie.
Yeah, we talked about earlier. Like, there's some of these time travel movies that are like, bloop, and it's a time travel. Like Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers is a time travel movie.
Yeah.
But it's the time travel part is like, okay, we're done with time travel. Now let's like move on, because a lot of time travel is like you go somewhere. Yeah. And then you're trying to get back. That's sort of the definition of the time travel movie. Well, whereas others are just like, okay, we time traveled and we're here and this is it. And now we have to keep going. Like Discovery just time traveled like 900 years in the future. Okay. I mean, Star Trek has all kinds of time travel stuff. Star Trek 4, of course, spinning around the sun.
I haven't mentioned that one yet.
Apparently that's on Dave's list.
I have a funny story. What kind of funny story about that? And you guys hold on. I will be right back. I gotta go to the bedroom because Chrissy's logging in for work, so you don't want to hear cussing.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, Buck Rogers and I'm trying to think of some of these other kinds of like just simple time travel things. Because there's a bunch of them.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of a simple time travel movie. Well, I mean, Planet of the Apes is kind of.
Well, yeah,
they don't even know that they.
We were going to get to the Planet of the Apes for sure. That's definitely one that needs to be talked about. Some of the stuff on my side list here, Time Cop, Van Damme with Time Cop.
Oh, Trancers. Was it Trancers?
I know what Trancers is. I've never seen it, so I don't know exactly what it is.
Oh, damn, Trancers.
It's worth watching, right, David?
Oh yeah.
Granted, there's a bunch of others. There's like what 5 sequels? There's 6 of them. Yeah,
there's a lot of Trancers. There's a lot of
Trancers, but the first one and I think the second one are definitely worth the time.
Not bad.
But But one thing that's really nice about the Trancers film series, it all stars the same guy.
Yeah,
so
he done every one of them.
To have him come back every film, he's like, "This is my career. Like, I'm just the Trancer guy."
That's all he done.
What I liked about Time Cop, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the only time travel movie that talks about or at least shows what happens if 2 entities exist in the same space at the same time. Martin Sheen again. We're back to Martin Sheen. He's another time travel movie. Because in Time Cop, future Martin Sheen and past Martin Sheen touch and they like get all blobby and weird and like it creates this like weird crazy thing because they can't be in the same place at the same time.
What was the movie with? Because I'm leading into that with Jet Li, where like he keeps going back, he keeps killing himself off because he becomes more powerful.
Is that the one? Is that the one? Is it called the one or something?
One. I think that's it. I think it's called the one. That's the only other one I can.
But see, in that case, he's just going back. He's just going back and killing himself. There's no effect.
Yeah.
Like in Time Cop, he was like they were touched. Like he came up to himself and he was like, "Don't fucking touch me, man. What are you doing? Like we'll create this like paradox and the whole universe will blow up." And that's the only time travel movie that I can think of that kind of legitimately happened.
It's a weird rule. Everyone just assumes that in time travel movies they're not supposed to touch, and in that one it makes sense. Like that. Okay, so in this time travel movie that they touch, this is what happens. But like if you go back and look at Back to the Future Part 2, and both Jennifers are in the same room, and they see each other, and they just faint.
I'm old.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole fainting part. The whole female Michael J. Fox. And
but they didn't touch. There was no.
It's true.
No thing.
I'm trying to think. Like, I know there's like one movie where like the old version shows up and like they nod, but that was about it. I don't think there was like any handshaking.
No.
But like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, they're like 10 feet from each other, and they're like,
no
way, like it's us, dude. Like, I love it. Like it's the most like
old dudes.
It's like just them like relaxed. It's like, whoa, like Ted, don't forget to set your watch. Like, all right, dude. Like, it's just. What? Like these guys are like so chill about it. Like, hey man, like we just walked out of a time machine, and there's other us's from from the future. Like this is about to happen. Like what? Same outfit.
Well, yeah, and then they were later in the movie. They were like, and we've gone into Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure now. Later in the movie, I thought it was great where they were like, "Oh my god, we need to have like the keys to get into the thing," and he was like, "Hey, just think about like we did it."
Yes.
And then like it's there. Like
oh my god, it's such a perfect thing because it's just like like we could just make shit up like like we said it here, like we went back in time and put it here that way, that makes sense, and then there it is, like and the trash can.
Yeah, so and like one of like this dad's card or something they needed from the police office, and they did the same thing in the police office or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They needed to get into or out of the police officer or something, and they needed his thing. So it was like, let's just go back in time and do it, and we'll just pretend, in our mind we know we did it, and then
it's there
it was. So yeah, there's definitely like the notion of we're going to make up our own rules for a lot of this stuff. There are always kind of the basic rules. There's always the paradox effect, theoretically, the butterfly effect they call it, also, and that'll take us to my number 3. Which is basically 2 movies because they're basically the same movie, but they attack time travel in different ways. So it is The Time Machine, of course, the 1960 version. That's the 1960 version. But then they also did a remake in 2002.
Yep.
Which was, again, it was basically the same movie, but with a little bit of differences, and a little bit of difference in how they take care of time travel. The original is very 1960s. It's very slow. It's very kind of, I mean, I don't know if you guys have read the book. The book is like almost impossible to read because there's almost no adventure to it. It's just purely this societal collapse and what happens to society when it's like, oh my God. Okay. I get it, dude. I get it. But
the Morlocks, and it's like,
the Morlocks.
The Morlocks. They only come out at night because the sun's radiation.
Yeah.
I've never seen the remake.
You've never seen the remake? The remake is really good, and
I really like the remake a lot.
Yeah, it was surprising. It was surprising to me. But I like time travel just in general, so I was pretty much going to be at least okay with it. One of the things that it for me that it triggered, that it took a few watchings to kind of figure out, but I really understood in this movie. I really understood at that moment 2 things. I understood the paradox element of, hey, you can't go back in time and fix something because then you wouldn't have had to fix it and make the time machine to go back in time. So I was like, okay, I have wrapped my head around the paradox part. But then there's the butterfly effect part, which I understood generally speaking. Like if you go back and change something, it causes ripples and things can happen. But based on the paradox effect, nothing should happen. I mean, it should all just kind of reset itself. But in this movie, something happened that I was like, oh shit, this is what I understand. So in this movie, his fiance gets killed by these mugger guys. And so he makes his time machine to go back and save her from being killed, which is fine. So he goes back in time and he saves her, and he's about to take her home. And he's like, okay, you stay here. I'm going to get you some flowers, and this thing will come out. We're going to go home. As he goes inside, you hear this scream, and you come outside, and she's been killed again by this guy who has, the first, he has one of the early cars. The car basically ran her over, killed her, right? And so,
then she gets run.
So that's when he started to, and then he did it again, right? He went back, and then he came back again. And she was killed again, and that's when he realized, I can't fix it, because if I fix it, there's your paradox. But here's the butterfly effect that I never really caught until that really happened, was if he goes back in time and she still dies, but she dies in a different way, like this guy runs her over with his car, you've now affected that guy's life, because in the first timeline, he didn't kill her. So now he is actually moving forward in time with this weight of, oh my God, I killed this woman. And that could change his life in any number of ways. And that's your butterfly effect, or your ripples in time when you change something. So even though you didn't get the effect you wanted, because you can't, you affected things around it. And so that to me was like, oh my God, that's really cool. And I finally understood a lot of this stuff that I never really sort of honed in on.
So
Nice.
going back to your thing of, what happens if they touch, I totally forgot. In Bill and Ted Face the Music, the third Bill and Ted movie, they fight themselves. They fight the prisoner versions of themselves.
Oh, you're right.
Forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
They definitely fought themselves.
So basically, that's just a shitty movie then.
Well, that means in the Bill and Ted universe, you could touch yourself and not die. Oh God, that sounds weird.
Stop touching yourself. Stop touching yourself. Stop touching yourself.
So in the Bill and Ted universe, it's okay to touch yourself.
Oh my God. So we have some Time Machine fans, even the remake. Yeah, it's a good movie. The dude, the guy who plays the scientist is a good actor.
Guy Pearce.
Yeah, Guy Pearce.
Yeah, Guy Pearce. Yeah, he's a good actor. Visuals were cool. The time machine was real. It wasn't a CG thing. It was an actual real glass and brass thing.
Orlando Jones.
Yeah.
For some odd reason is in this movie. It's a all British cast for the most part, except for Orlando Jones.
Yeah, he plays a. How do you say this?
Like a hologram.
Plays a hologram librarian. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. And it's funny, this little meta moment too, because the guy's going in and he's asking, like, I need time travel. And so the guy's like, oh, you just want the works of H.G. Wells, and here's the book. And he's like, no. I don't know, like practical stuff. And then he goes into he's like, oh, you want that sci-fi shit, It's really funny.
Stephen Hawking shit. And Mike said Avengers Endgame, Captain America versus Captain America.
Oh yeah, they did fight, didn't they? They did fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's another shitty movie.
America's ass.
Clearly, that's another shitty movie. If you're in a time travel movie, you touch your own self and you don't explode, you're a shitty movie.
Well, I mean, Endgame
was a shitty movie anyway.
It's so good. It's such. They took that shovel of the fan service and they shoved it down my throat. I'm like, I want it all.
That's how I feel about Endgame right here. I'm just like,
listen, you want to know something? I have a list here of 20 movies. Endgame isn't even on it.
no,
I
there.
that was such a mess. I don't even want to waste time on it.
The last 20 minutes that was.
What is happening to your hair right now?
It's just I just felt like that because we were talking about Endgame all of a sudden. I was like, There.
So
it's like a chip head happening.
I'm gonna start dancing around here in a minute.
Time Machine's your number 3.
Time Machine is my number 3. Yeah.
Number
Your
3.
number 3. David, what is your number 3?
I think I do number 4. I haven't even done number 4.
Oh,
yet.
what's your
Oh
4?
yeah, that's right.
My
What's your number
4?
4?
Is what Tom was talking about. Was freaking Voyage Home.
Oh, Star Trek
Okay.
4. Sure. Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
'Cause
Because
it's
I
the
remember.
80s.
Okay, you remember back in the day when Columbia House had where you could buy the movies,
Sure.
and like they were even like the brand new ones you could buy like 7 for
For 10 cents.
10 cents.
And then,
or whatever. Well, I bought when it first came out, Voyage Home.
Yeah.
Because I was a huge fan of Star Trek 3, the Spock, a second and third one.
Yep.
So if I feel like I'm gonna buy the 4th one, and I wore that movie out. I loved everything about it. It's not a perfect time travel movie. It's not. But
There
yeah,
are no perfect time travel movies.
No, but still, I mean,
They all contradict themselves in some way. Usually, anyway.
But yeah, that's my 4th one. I've always loved it. I've always kind of like divided it, and I've always liked First Contact the same way.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit of time travel too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally forgot. Yeah, Star Trek First Contact, the one with the Borg.
Yeah.
That's oh my god, that's
I
okay.
love
That's
that
my
movie
number.
too.
That's my number 3.
Those two go together for me. I put them together. When I want to watch Star Trek, I go in and watch 4 and First Contact.
So Jim's list just changed. What got bumped?
I totally forgot about First Contact. I love First Contact so much. The Borg is such a badass villain.
God.
It's like you can't you shoot them like a couple times and then they adapt and you can't kill them that way. And it's like, what the fuck?
They
and then
fucked up Data, dude. They got a hold of Data and fucked him up.
And they gave him real skin, and then he's like,
I can feel
flesh, and then there's blood, and then it's like also like an alien aspect where they're checking in the vent, and all of a sudden the Borg gets the guy, and you're like, oh my god, and it's like it's real, and it's got that one guy where he's like the first man to launch his own spaceship,
James Cromwell, dude.
Yeah, and then he's like, wait, where is it? And then he puts in Steppenwolf, and then you're like, yeah, rock and roll, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And then
those are my 4th ones, like 4 and First Contact. I have to put them on there.
Yeah, First Contact, man. That's my number 3. I'll make that my number 3. I love that movie. It's like there's a lot
but what's bumped? What just got bumped?
What'd you bump?
I bumped
Uh-oh.
Back to the Future. You bumped Back to the Future.
I bumped Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh, okay. All right.
But here's why Hot Tub Time Machine, I can't have it as number 1 or number 2. Because I'm a huge music guy. And when Lou stays back in time and then the rest of the guys go back to the future, hey, look at that. When he's like, oh yeah, like when me and the band, and Motley Lou, he's doing the Home Sweet Home music video, but technically Theater of Pain came out 84, 85, and they were in 1986. So Theater of Pain was already out. It was already done.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me they went back in time to re-record?
He did. I bet he did.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If he stayed, the hot tub is still there.
Yeah.
But the triminium is not in there.
The nitrotriminium, yes, this is true. But once he has the nitrotriminium in the future, he can go back in time anytime he wants to.
Well, here's the other thing. How is it that Lou stays behind, but Craig Robinson goes forward in time, but somehow Craig Robinson also becomes a rich, successful producer of all these hit songs, even though he didn't stay his.
Well, but and we need to wait to talk about this one.
Yeah,
but the reason is that he keeps Nick on pace to do what he needs to do, and it's the same with it's the same with Adam, because Adam's like this mess of a dude, but he manages to get Adam. He goes finds the girl, and everybody's life changes because Lou does what he does in the past.
Yeah.
It's not just that he becomes rich in the past, but that he guides them to be where they need to be.
Guides everybody.
Yeah. So that's what was that? That's 3, right?
That's 3.
So what was your 3, David? What's your 3?
Mine was Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness, okay.
But yeah, mine was Army of Darkness. I had to bump. I bumped First Contact and made the 2 because I had to put Army of Darkness on there. I had to.
Yeah. So on to, so we've done threes now. So on to actually let's do a couple of others here. Outside the box. Of course, I mean, now these might be on your lists, but they're not on mine. So I'm just going to bring them up briefly. Obviously the Terminator franchise is all time travel stuff. It's all time travel stuff.
Those.
And it's the time travel stuff with Terminator though. It's basically all paradox stuff.
Yeah.
The entire concept is paradox. It's not so much about the time travel, it's the result of the time travel. Which is okay. But I think that's kind of one of the things that ran the franchise down is how many times can you talk about going back and trying to fix or kill or do something?
It never seems to work out ever.
It never does.
It's like, how many times do we have to keep fucking coming back? The goddamn Connor family. There's nobody else in the future that is like, more reliable.
Watch the new one, you'll find out, Jim.
Well, that's when they went to number 3. When they did Terminator 3, they came back and started killing all of his
generals.
like his generals or whatever. Yeah. So they did try that too. And
the last was the last one Genesis, or what was the last one?
No, the last one was the shitty reboot.
The one where they kill Eddie Furlong CGI.
Yeah, at the beginning. Like I said, at the beginning.
And there's like Terminators walking out of Florida oceans and stuff.
It's like it's Terminator
what are we doing?
2.5. Basically, it's like Terminator 3, and anything after that didn't happen. So it's
correct
1, 2, and then the last. Yeah, what was the last?
Did they even recognize a third one on it? I thought it was just 1 and 2.
Well, Dark Fate was basically spinning off of number 2.
Yeah,
it threw number 3 away.
Basically.
Obviously it had to because it killed Eddie.
Rise
John Connor is dead.
Salvation. Genesis was the other one? Dark Fate.
Genesis was the
fifth one.
The fifth one. Because the fourth one, Salvation, was the one with Batman.
Salvation was the fourth one. Sorry,
Christian Bale. Yeah.
I always forget about
the Salvation one was just like, the fuck is this? Like, all of a sudden,
it's funny because I remember watching Salvation. I remember liking it. I was like, this is okay. And then I watched it again and I was like, no, this is bad.
John Connor already gets along with Terminators, and all of a sudden, like, the Terminator giving him his heart is going to make him like Terminators even more. It's like, but he already made friends with Terminators. Like, what?
It was weird. It was weird. Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't like it. Like, why? What's the point of this Terminator? Like, the Terminator that donates his heart to John Connor, like, what? Why? Why did this need to be a thing?
See, for me, I liked number 3. A lot of people didn't like 3, but I thought 3 was like, hey, we've got a nice trilogy here, and number 3 kind of wraps it all up the way you need it to be wrapped up, and finally just say, fuck it, guys, we can't stop this.
And
here it is.
The Crypt Keys basement, that worked. That storyline worked. I like that idea, like that he was at the Crypt Keys basement playing the game and everything and all. Mm-hmm. And when he was supposed to be killed, that storyline worked. I don't care what anybody says. That was awesome. Screw 'em. So
and then of course they did the TV show, which completely retconned everything and just was like, forget everything you've seen. Here's a new thing with a hot little Terminator.
Now
I will say that I remember watching it when it came on. I was vaguely into it the first season. Second season I didn't see at all. Like, no times I didn't see it. A friend of mine gave me the DVDs to watch, and so I watched them. And so when I watched it, I was like, okay, this is okay. And then I got to the ending of it, and I was like, fuck you, Fox.
Yeah.
What happens now?
Yeah.
So they actually had me by the time I got through it, and it was season 2, I was like, y'all better like make a movie or something to finish this up.
Right?
Like,
because that's a hell of a cliffhanger. Hell of a cliffhanger.
They never did finish it, did they? They never did finish it.
No. I think it was done in the comics. Like, I think because Dark Horse had the comic license, I think it continued there. But I don't care. I'm not reading comics on the Terminator. So, so there's that. So the other thing I'm going to tell you, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, there was a Godzilla movie that was time travel.
Oh, I knew this was going to happen. I knew you was going to find
There is a time traveling Godzilla movie.
Yep.
It was 1991 or 91, 92. Well, depending on Japan or American release. It was called Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. It was during the High Sea era. It was the third movie of the reboot that started in the 80s. The first one was 1984, and then they did Biollante, and then they did King Ghidorah. So in this movie, people from the future came back. And they were like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back in time again. Why they stopped in the middle, the story makes no sense. They stopped in the middle and they're like, hey, we're going to go back in time. We're going to make sure Godzilla does not get born, the nuclear bomb thing and all that kind of stuff. And so Japan, of course, is like, well, yeah, go take care of this. And so they go back in time. There's a cool story about World War II with these Japanese warriors on an island, and the Americans are about to kick their ass. And Godzilla, as a dinosaur, before he becomes Godzilla, comes out and saves this group of Japanese soldiers. But then he gets really injured and wounded, and they have to leave him, and it's this big sad thing. But then he's on this island, so when the nuclear bomb testings go off later, he gets the radiation, he becomes Godzilla. That's the backstory. So these future guys come back, and then they go back again, and they're like, okay, we can teleport. So they're going to teleport Godzilla out of this spot, put him somewhere out in the ocean where he can't get the radiation, and that way Godzilla will never happen, and history will fix itself. What they also do, though, is they bring back 3 little monsters, because of course, and the monsters get out of the ship and are left behind. So when the nuclear bomb goes off, those little monsters merge and become Ghidorah, and that's it. Yeah. So then they come. Here's the part that doesn't make sense, though. They go, well, I mean, many things that don't make sense. So they come back to the present, right? And they're like, hey, success. Godzilla's out in the ocean. And, nothing that he did ever happened, except that everyone in Japan is like, yeah, except we remember all of that. So like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then all of a sudden Ghidorah shows up and he's like blowing up the cities. And then the current people are like, well, we know where Godzilla is. We just need to go. We need to go make Godzilla now so that he can fight Ghidorah. It's like, oh my God, this is getting really crazy. So they go and basically, like in King of the Monsters, they go nuke him. So he becomes Super Godzilla. And then they go and they fight. We're not done with it yet, guys. Then they fight. Godzilla kicks his ass, basically, like literally blows off one of his heads and his wing. Like, I mean, just trashes him, really trashes him. Really, for the first time ever, Godzilla trashes King Ghidorah. So one of the future people who isn't like, hey, we shouldn't have done this whole plan. This doesn't work. Goes back to the future, finds the dead Ghidorah in the future ocean, who's now been kept alive because it's freezing temperatures, of course. And they rebuild him to be Mecha King Ghidorah.
Oh, God.
They build the time machine back inside of Mecha King Ghidorah and go back in time again to then fight Godzilla and get him out of Japan so he doesn't destroy Japan. So that is the epic time travel story of Godzilla. The one and only time in the movies that they've done it. They've done it in the comics a couple of times. In fact, in the comics, he is why the Titanic sank.
Oh, God.
That sounds goddamn amazing, actually. I kind of want to see that. I read on it, like I saw, like Tom's going to bring this up tonight because I was looking up time travel movies. I'm like, I'm going to look up Godzilla time travel. And that came up and I was like, oh shit, this is happening. This is going to happen. Yeah. I mean, and it's one of these things where you would assume, it would be in my top 5, but it's such a wonky story. Like it is so wackadoodle. But I got to get you guys a picture of this because it's crazy. The coolest part is Mecha King Ghidorah. It's really wild. It's really, really wild. Pictures. All right, let me bring it up here. Okay, here we go. Oh, I remember that. Oh hell yeah! I remember seeing pictures of that when I was a kid.
Yeah, so that was fun. That's one of the middle reboot movies that I like the most, and the only time we've done time travel with Godzilla.
Okay, that's really cool. I'll have to find that somehow.
Oh, it's easy to find. You can get the DVD pretty easily. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's probably on Amazon and all that kind of stuff. Too.
I might have it and don't know it. 'Cause I have like a box set of Godzilla movies. Oh, I don't know.
So we're moving. We're gonna. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So before we're at number 2, right? We're up
Number
to
two.
like, we're getting. So
Number two.
before we go to number 2, what is the best time traveling machine and or entity? I guess since portals are a thing, what would you say would be the best thing to time travel in?
Oh, you mean actually to time travel in?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think probably. Well, and it depends. Again, there's a couple of different things because in some cases you travel in time but not space. So wherever you that's the time machine. Wherever you turn the time machine on, all you do is go back in time in that spot. So you can't be in California and then turn it on and end up in Europe. Yeah. So I think that the Back to the Future car is probably the best because you can pick a time and I think you can pick a place. But even if you can't pick a place, the car will take you wherever you basically need to go,
sure
especially when it's the flying version.
Yeah, because otherwise you get the part 3 problem where he goes back and then he gets a flat tire, and
right.
he's like, and it's because he's
you've got to have gas, you've got to have uranium, so there is that issue for sure.
Yeah.
So beyond that,
hot tubs.
Beyond that, I mean, the hot tub is pretty good, but again, you need the nitrogen. You got to make sure you've got a stock of Chernobyl around.
Unless you go far into the future to figure out a way to not use that and make it into something else.
And the aircraft carrier is not what made it go back in time.
Yeah,
so it's a nice vehicle to take with you, but it doesn't create the portal.
Well, unless you go through the portal and then it puts you like in the middle of the desert and you're like, well, now I'm stuck on the
fuck. Shit. But again, see, that was another situation. It traveled through time, but not space. It just went back, whatever it was, the 30 years or whatever. So I'm thinking, well, I think every piece of these things has problems because even when you went to like the time machine, which is behind me, if you don't have that little piece to activate it, plus it's just a piece of machinery, so it can be wrecked. I don't know that there's a right answer here because they all kind of have problems. maybe the risk, because but Time Cop, you got to get in that rocket launcher and shoot yourself into a wall, and then you've got a little thing that brings you back automatically. So that doesn't work. That's kind of shitty.
In Terminator, you got to get butt naked, and then
but then you're stuck wherever you are. There's no coming back.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that's true. Go back to a time that you're willing to live the rest of your life in.
That's right.
I guess if I were to go back in time and I was going to stay in that time and not come back to the future at all, I guess I would do the Terminator style, where I would just go naked, because you get to pick the time. You can pick where it drops you off. Yes. So you could just drop yourself off in like a warehouse that makes clothes, and then just take the clothes, and you're walking out in style in modern times.
I need your boots, your jacket, and your shirt.
It's like
your boots, your jacket, and your shirt.
The Terminator, like they choose where to teleport them. So why don't they just teleport them to like a retail store? Why does he always have to get someone to take off their clothes?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a general point. Yeah. Like it's like Los Angeles, 1992, blop, go.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they could just put him at his house. Like, oh, I'm at his house.
Oh, there you go, John Connor. Yes.
They showed up in the middle of the freeway because they time traveled. There was one where they showed up in the middle of the freeway. I think that was Genesis. Yeah, so they couldn't pick out where to go.
So Jim isn't going to like this, but there is actually a correct answer.
What's the correct answer?
It's the TARDIS.
No, stop it. No, we're talking about movies.
It's the TARDIS.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
because I will go with the phone booth from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure over. Well,
that works too because it's basically the same thing. Listen, the phone booth is based on Doctor Who. I mean, that's where it came from. So, but yes, the that is one of those space and time things.
Also, how many people?
The only thing you got to be careful of is busting your antenna.
Yeah. Like, and then you got to do the chewing of the gum.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
And also, like, how many people did they fit inside that phone booth? Like, there was like you got Joan of Arc, Bill and Ted.
It's bigger on the inside, Jim.
Beethoven, Genghis Khan, Billy the Kid, Socrates. Yeah, no, Napoleon wasn't in there when they were.
They bring him back first, don't they? Because
he was there. Well, actually, no. Did they go back in? They go back in together at the end.
Yeah.
And then, shit, and then Abe Lincoln. So
Abe
9
Lincoln,
people.
Yeah.
9 people.
Jim, literally, the phone booth is based on the TARDIS. If you don't know that, I'm sorry, but it's based on the TARDIS.
No. Not happen. It didn't happen.
You just ruined Bill and Ted for Jim.
So here's the thing. For me, I think ultimately after all of these things, I think the best option is probably the time sled, whether it's this one or the other one, because you can move it. It's not immovable, as long as you've got the key, you're good to go, and you can put it in a garage or something and keep it safe. And it doesn't seem to need any sort of power source either. You just kind of fucking put some crystals in and you're going.
Okay. I totally forget. It's not in my top 5, but it's a honorable mention. Napoleon Dynamite.
Is time travel?
He buys a time machine.
Oh,
he buys a time machine, and then he's like, "Don't forget."
And
to
then
put
he shocks his balls. Put the crystals in. Yeah. It's a piece of junk.
Oh yeah, wait. We gotta put the crystals in. Well, I mean, I bet you there's a fan theory out there too that Napoleon Dynamite is a time travel movie, because if you watch that movie and you think this is an 80s movie, there is, with the exception of the scene at the talent show where the girl is playing the Britney Spears song, dancing to the Britney Spears song, the rest of that movie, there is no modern technology that's shown. There's like no, pop culture references. It's literally like it's out in the middle of Idaho or whatever. It's just it's its own thing. It's not a period piece film. Like it could be set in any time, really.
Not true.
Before cell phones.
Not true.
Why not?
Because Uncle what's his name still has his video cassette recorder.
Yeah.
At the end, he has his video cassette recorder and his car.
And I forgot that his brother Ned or Chip or whatever. What was his brother's name? Dirk,
Chip?
Digley, Chip, Ned. I don't know. It was a nerdy guy. His brother was online dating. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
La Fonda. And then at the end, that was the post-credit scene. They had a post-credit scene for that movie. When I watched that movie at least 100 times before I knew that there was a post-credit scene.
Me too.
The only reason I knew it was there is because I was literally on my phone at the end of the movie, and I just was letting it play, and I was like, what is happening right now? So yeah.
And he's up on a horse, and you're like, what? And it's the wedding, and you're like, what the hell is this? I remember
you're riding the horse like this.
Oh yeah.
My buddy was like, he's like, dude, we gotta watch Napoleon Dynamite. I was like, all right. And he's like, we gotta watch the ending. I'm like, I've seen the ending. I'm like, okay. And then we watched it, and he's like, no, we gotta watch through the credits. I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. They're like, there's a post credit scene. I'm like, what post credit scene? Like, do they do that in movies? This is the pre-Marvel days where post credits wasn't like a thing. Because they don't, on movies for the longest time, they never really did that. So like, why would you think that there'd be anything?
Yeah.
For the longest time, I didn't know Masters of the Universe had an after credit scene.
I still don't know that. I still don't know that that's a thing.
What?
The Masters of the Universe movie has an end credit scene.
Also a sort of time travel movie.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. Bob,
more of a dimensional travel, but kind of.
That's honorable mention for me because I love that movie and I'm weird.
So what did you do your 3, David? Did you do your 3?
Yeah, 3 was Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. Yeah. So we're on to 2. So for 2 for me is one that we've talked about a little bit, but it's actually multiple movies really because they do time travel in 3 of them. And
entire
it's
franchise.
yeah. Planet of the Apes, of course, which is it's sort of a shocker time travel movie. It's not you don't know that it is until it's the end. But then in part 2, they do it again. They literally send another guy on the same trajectory, and he gets frozen in space and lands in the same lands right where Charlton Heston landed somehow.
It looks a lot like Charlton Heston too.
Yeah, definitely.
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Definitely. And then they of course blow up the world, which kind of puts an end to your franchise. Yes. Oh, except what you didn't know was that Cornelius and Zira had found that new ship and rebuilt it and went back in time somehow.
It's amazing
and now
monkeys who haven't even mastered flight, automobiles, or any vehicles for that matter can somehow rebuild a spaceship.
Yes, and figure out how to freeze themselves for not just 500 years, negative whatever it was, 1,000 years. Because when you go up and freeze yourself, you're just there. But they had to actually go back in time this time, which makes no fucking sense. But the third movie was really interesting because the third movie, you get these astronauts walking out of the ocean and they take their helmets off, and it's the apes. So it's like a complete reversal of the original movie. Even the entire movie is like a complete reversal of the original movie, which is really kind of cool and a really cool way to bookend like a trilogy. But of course they kept going, which was ridiculous.
Kept going and going.
It's my least out of all the Planet of the Apes films. That's the one I like the least. I don't like Escape, mostly because it's not technically set in the Planet of the Apes, and it's very like you got all the humans talking.
Well, but it's not on Planet of the Apes. It's Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, but I mean,
from is a key word there.
But it does lead into my favorite, which is Conquest. Well, I mean, Beneath is my favorite, but Conquest is my second favorite because, oh, dude, I love Beneath because Beneath is like. Well, first off, everyone fucking dies except for obviously Zira.
No, literally everyone. Yeah, right. Yeah. Except for the chimpanauts.
Like literally, like the weird guys with the psycho minds and shit, and then the apes are coming in with their gun. Like, also, where was that commander during Planet of the Apes? Which I think they do explain because he was like out on a mission. Because Planet of the Apes only takes place like 4 days or something. Yeah. But. So yeah, what's his name? Ursus or Ursa or what was his name?
Ursus.
Ursus. Yeah. So yeah, he shows up and he's just like bah, 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 bah. And then like the guys with their mind powers are like wah wah wah, and then literally like fucking Charlton Heston just like just hit the fucking button and it's boom, and also like just bah, 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 and like they're getting shot up and they're just like fuck these guys, fuck this Planet of the Apes, get me off, bam, boom, done, everyone dies.
I hate every ape I see. From chimpanzee to chimpanzee. Yeah, no, but there is no Big Bang at the end of Beneath Planet of the Apes. He hits the button,
and it goes to white,
and it fades out, and it has this line of this bright blue marble in the universe is now gone out. Like that's the end. Like holy shit! Like everything's gone. Oh my god! And then of course you get. Escape from the Planet of the Apes,
and then you got a Conquest, and then Battle, and then Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, and then the other Planet of the Apes.
Did you guys like that one?
No,
the Tim Burton one.
Tim Burton one?
No, I didn't. Either.
I liked it. I mean, I don't mind it. But apparently the ending of that Planet of the Apes. Tim Burton stole from a Kevin Smith comic book.
Yep.
And then Tim Burton's reply to Kevin Smith was, well, I don't read comic books. And then Kevin Smith's response to that was, well, that explains
Batman.
Yeah.
Yep. And did you hear who was originally supposed to play in that?
In the Planet of the Apes?
Yep. Arnold Schwarzenegger. No shit.
Oh, that would have been much worse. Oh my god.
No, it would have been much better.
That would have been,
dude. Oh my god.
All of these apes. Why are these apes here?
These apes following me. I told them to get to the chopper.
I did like that Charlton Heston did show up as the father of one of the commander. That's pretty cool.
Like all Tim Burton movies, it had good things.
Yeah,
right.
But it's not. It for me, it's just not a watchable. Like I wouldn't want to turn it on right now.
The
the apes were very terrifying compared
Yeah,
to Planet
they
of
were-
the Apes. They
Sure.
were much more terrifying.
Well, especially the general, the chimp general.
Yeah. Well,
The
what's his
gorillas weren't all that impressive to me. I like the gorillas from the original movie better, but the
Yeah.
chimp dude was like way crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was, I think, for the third reboot, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I love that movie,
Yeah.
but the CG is shit.
Yeah.
Like those chimpanzees and stuff, they look like garbage. And that for me is like the only real drawback to that movie. Like it's just like, oh my god. And I know it's the dude who does all the motion capture. I can't think of his name.
Oh, it's
Circus and Circus.
Yeah, Circus. Yeah. So the movements and stuff
Yeah.
were cool, but just the actual, like, here's a CG monkey. Like, this is not working for me. But
Michael Clark Duncan as the second
Yeah.
the second in command. Oh
Yeah.
man, he was like
God.
that. Like if I ran into that guy in Planet of the Apes, I would have shit my pants. I would have been
Oh,
just fucking, I'm
Total
fucking dead.
poopage.
Like this is it.
Total poopage, man. It'd have been bad.
Oh my god, they did. I don't know if you guys see for the original Planet of the Apes, they did a comic book for Boom Comics that was called
Yes.
Ursus, and basically the comic book is parallel to this Charlton Heston story. So while Charlton Heston is out doing his side of things, you get to see what Ursus is doing through the whole movie at the same time, which was really cool. It was a really cool idea. It was really well done. And of course they did some crossovers.
They did a
Green Lanterns. Yeah. There was a Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover.
Which is cool. It's cool to see that those two fandoms combine.
And King Kong on the Planet of the Apes.
Yes, they did.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
I missed that one.
And like Skull Island is a thing in that universe. Like they go to Skull Island.
No shit.
Yeah, and they have like artifacts from the original movie. Like there's newspapers from the original 1932 movie, basically. That's like, hey, there's like history of this giant ape.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, but it's like Kong now. Like he's a race of giant gorillas.
Boom did really good with Planet of the Apes. They did a lot of, they did some compared to other things that like the other franchises that they've done, Planet of the Apes was, I mean, it doesn't take much to not fuck out Planet of the Apes. Unless you're Tim Burton.
Yep. So what's your two, Jim?
It's gonna be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Actually, technically, it would be Bill and Ted's Bogus. It would be Bogus Journey, which technically it is time travel, but most of the movie they don't really time travel. They go to hell. Because the reason why it's Bogus Journey and not Excellent Adventure is because I saw Bogus Journey before I saw Excellent Adventure. So I didn't even know there was an Excellent Adventure. I was just like, wow, man, Bill and Ted's Bogus, because I got it free when I bought a pizza at Pizza Hut.
I remember that.
Here's a free shitty movie.
It was either that or like some other like bullshit movie. And I'm like, hey, I'll go. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. That sounds like a fun movie to watch, and it was.
I got Addams Family that way.
Yeah, I think it was like Addams Family and Bogus Journey, and I was like, Addams Family, man. Like I was like, what, 7 or 8 when they did that. So I was like, yeah, let's go with Bogus Journey because I never saw it. And what was weird about those DVDs is like they just put them on top of the pizza, so it was like
greasy. They did.
There's like no cover on it. Like, oh. that's early 2000s marketing for you. Just put the DVD on top of the pizza.
I don't know, man.
You don't like it? You don't like the Bill and Ted series?
The first Bill and Ted is okay. Like it's on my list. It's on my honorable mentions. Like it's probably top 10 for me easily. The second one, I couldn't do.
Reaper, man.
I couldn't do it. And the third one. Are we really? There's so many people that are like, it's so good. I'm like, what did you watch?
It was okay.
This made no sense. It took away from what we've been told for the first two movies that they were going to do this thing. No, it's not that. It's going to be what they did was they made kids and their kids made a thing. It's just like
exactly.
Oh my god.
Well, it's their daughters, so it's the female thing, and it's just like okay, but it's Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted. It's the title of the movie.
Yeah. Wild Stallions, man.
Also-
not Children of the Wild Stallions.
They come back to the future in Bogus Journey, and they're like, "This is little Ted, and this is little Bill. They're boys. They're boys." And then in the third one, they're like, "Oh yeah, remember when they mistaked us for being boys? Like, are you? No, they can't just do that. They were literally born. They had their umbilical cords cut. They obviously were dudes. Why? Why did you have to do that? You could have gotten a Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a young son of what's his name? Ted Theodore Logan.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves. He could have been Keanu Reeves' son. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And then they could have gotten, like, I don't know, Justin Timberlake as the young son of Bill S. Preston Esquire. And then
those guys are way too old to be in those
are
parts.
I don't know. In my mind, they're still. In my mind, it's still like 2000. Like
it's still Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's Third Rock from the Sun.
And NSYNC and Third Rock from the Sun are still happening.
Yeah,
they would have been perfect. They would have been perfect because, like, at the time, Justin Timberlake had that curly hair that Bill has, so it's like it would have made more sense.
Yeah,
and of course, and if you're gonna have him write the music for Bill and Ted, Justin Timberlake is like one of the greatest music artists of my generation. I guess I don't know. Is he my generation? Maybe he's a generation
Who
before
was
me.
it that was on the third one? The musician, the rapper.
What a Chance was it? Chance the Rapper?
Was it Chance the Rapper?
I have no idea.
Yeah, there was a rapper in there.
Yeah,
but it was
and he was like a throwaway actor. I'm like,
I could barely get through it. I like the first one. The first one conceptually was good.
Yeah.
Rufus was great. George Carlin is amazing.
Oh yeah.
The
soundtracks in both movies are really good.
Oh yeah.
Because you got the hair metal, you got Kiss, you got Extreme, you got freaking Megadeth's and Go to Hell.
Yep.
Literally, Dave Mustaine wrote that song for that movie, and then they changed the name of the movie because it was too hardcore.
Yeah, the Go to Hell was too hardcore.
Yeah.
So what's your two, David?
Mine is, and I'll probably probably your number one. I bet. Of course, it's Hot Tub Time Machine.
Hot Tub Time Machine. So we're zeroing in on Hot Tub Time Machine here.
Yeah.
It was Jim's what? It was your 4.
Jim's 4, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was my 3, and then I bumped it.
It was your 3.
Yeah, he bumped it.
Yeah.
3 and you bumped it. Yeah. That's a failure. 2. It's a failure, Jim.
Well, we talked about it a little bit. We'll probably talk about it a little bit here in a minute. I bet. I got a feeling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna assume that both of your number ones are Back to the Future.
Why would you assume that?
Because we haven't
talked
about it.
That's heavy,
am I right?
Dude. That's heavy.
Yeah, it's my number one.
Oh my God!
For a lot of different reasons, it's my number one.
The whole trilogy's number one.
So
let's talk about. So before we talk about Back to the Future, I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the Hot Tub Time Machine. Because we know that's your number one, Tom.
Yeah,
it is my number one. My number one is Hot Tub Time Machine. I was a little bit surprised myself.
Yeah.
But for me, again, like we talked about earlier, big rewatchability value on that movie. The soundtrack, the cast is ridiculous. The concept is crazy.
Crispin Glover, Back Feature, and Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's your connection.
Yes.
Yes, the connection.
All time travel movies connect to
Hot Tub Time Machine. Hot Tub Time Machine.
William Zabka is in it.
Great
Chevy Chase is in it. Great White Buffalo.
Sebastian Stan.
Yes.
Playing the
the Winter Soldier himself.
Winter Soldier. Playing the jerk.
Soon to be Luke Skywalker.
Yep. And the reboot,
Star
Wars reboot.
I'm a big John Cusack fan just in general. So the fact that John Cusack was in it, I was like, I'm already basically in probably. But with Clark Duke that was an amazing casting choice. Like the cast is just so ridiculous. They're so fucking perfect. And an interesting time travel element where they go back in time, but instead of existing there, they go into their own bodies.
Yes.
I'm not sure that has happened in time travel before. Right? Can anyone think of I think that's an original time travel element.
The only
I
movie I
can't
can
think
think
of
where they
any
go
other movie
inside
that
some guy's
way.
body is John Malkovich, but that's not a time travel movie.
That's not time travel. No. And then like obviously Quantum Leap jumps him around into
Yeah.
bodies, but that is time travel. But that's jumping into somebody else's body. That's a different type of thing. So I like
think
that
you're right.
concept a lot. I was like, oh, that's you gave me something new in the time travel realm. Chevy Chase is the ridiculous repairman, which is fantastic. But yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine, and one of the things that I like about it is beyond just the craziness, is it's sort of the underlying theme, which is embrace the chaos. They're all there and they're trying to be like, we got to like make this happen, man. We got to like stay in the bounds and da. But then Adam meets the chick, John Cusack, and she's just like, whatever, man, just like embrace the chaos. And by the end, Adam's like, yeah, you're right. Let's just roll with it.
There is foreshadowing. There is a foreshadowed scene, because I watched this movie last week. I watched Hot Tub Time Machine last week. There is a foreshadow to the potential sequel towards like probably the beginning of the movie. At one point, Lou goes, "I'd rather get shot in the dick than do this, whatever the thing that they're talking about is." And that's the whole plot of part 2 is he literally gets shot in the dick. So they have to go figure out who shot him. And they have to go to the future to find out who shot him in the dick.
Shot him in the dick.
Yes. Yeah.
It's still amazing. I don't care what you say. It was amazing.
The entire plot of the movies is revolved around his dick getting shot.
Yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine 2. Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a little rough. It's a little rough, but it was okay. It was okay. I think it was just confused. I think really it probably failed mostly because it was confusing. Like it was just trying to do it because it was like, hey, we're going into the future, but there's no nitrotremanium. But if there is and there isn't, and they're back and forth. It was a little confusing on the story. Hot Tub Time Machine was very simple. You went back in time. You were in the 80s. You did events and you came home. It was super simple. Whereas Hot Tub Time Machine 2 was like, well, we're gonna fucking go all over the place and we're gonna make these weird time things.
So confusing.
One thing that and I had this on the DVD. There was a scene where Adam came back, and I guess it was a cut scene. Yes. One of the the after credits scenes. He comes back with a gun and he's all like doing the Cincinnati thing, whatever the Cincinnati thing is. We don't know what it is. So there's a whole bunch of those like cut scenes from the very end where different characters are coming out of the vortex, like Lou comes back and he's from like the revolutionary times. But then his head gets blown off by another Lou who comes from another time. Like it's really crazy. But one of them is Adam. And I remember seeing it and I was like, oh fuck Adam, man. Cause I really wanted Adam to be in the movie again. So
the biggest role of the first movie doesn't even show up for the second movie. It's already going to start off bad, but granted, they did have everybody else.
Yeah.
You got Lou, you got Nick Weber, you got his son.
Adam Scott, I was gonna say, and Adam Scott, it's a good pickup.
Yeah.
He's not John Cusack, but he's a good pickup.
Yeah.
Right.
Did they shoot that, Tom, or did they just like cut it out, or what?
Oh, it's shot. It's a scene you can find online.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
I've seen that scene. Christian Slater's in that movie.
What?
Hot Tub Time Machine 2. He's the host of the Choosy Doozy.
Oh, Choosy Doozy. Yeah, that's right. Choosy Doozy. That's
Christian Slater.
Oh my God, I want to eat some pancakes.
Yeah. If there's any man I'd ever go gay for, it would be Christian Slater. Like you could put him in any movie. It could be like the world's worst movie. Like it could be like it could be literally a comedy about Hitler causing the Holocaust, and Christian Slater plays Hitler, and I'd pay to see that movie. I would bring that movie to box office success. I would spend millions of dollars to see this movie every day.
Do you remember his pointlessly like hidden role in Star Trek 6?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He comes to wake up Sulu. He's like, "Hey, Captain, something's happening." But he's like, it's really weird because he's kind of like leaning on Sulu's like door, like, "Hey, Captain, come on up to the bridge or whatever." But he's like totally blacked out. Like there's no light on him. but it's his voice, like 100%. It's his voice. You're like, wait, that's Christian Slater, right? And then you find out later that it is him. So yeah,
Wow.
he's in Star Trek 6.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh,
So yes, Hot Tub Time Machine somehow rolled into number 1 for me. A lot of it is just rewatchability. Everything on my top 5 is basically, if someone asked me, do you want to watch it? There would be probably a 95% chance that I would say yes. So there's a lot of the other stuff. Like I love Buck Rogers, the original movie is great. Back to the Future I can watch. I just can't watch it a lot. The Star Trek movies were good. Bill and Ted's good, but so that's my 5. And with you guys with Back to the Future, I want you to convince me that Back to the Future belongs on my top 5 because it ain't there. It's definitely top 10, but it is not top 5.
Huey Lewis in the News. That's all you need. If you just take Back to the Future, don't count the sequels, just go Back to the Future.
Okay.
Huey Lewis in the News, that entire soundtrack, the fact that Huey Lewis is in the movie.
Okay.
Apparently.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
They talked to Bob Gale, the guy that produced Back to the Future, and Robert Zemeckis that directed it. And apparently, for the longest time when they made Back to the Future, first off, it's going to be a refrigerator. Not a lot of people knew that.
They were going to go back in time in a refrigerator?
Yeah, but they was afraid kids was like going to play in refrigerators and all get caught in refrigerators, so they didn't. But when Back to the Future was wrote and made and everything else, there was only going to be one. They never planned on sequels. They never planned. They said we was going to make one. They done the ending as a joke. They was like, hey, this is going to be like the Saturday morning serials, like Indiana Jones and shit and all like that. We're just going to put a fake ending to it, and there's never going to be sequels.
Yep.
And everybody bitched so much. It made so much money. Everybody bitched. Like, oh, now we're going to come up with a sequel. And like, well, what the hell are we going to do? What are we going to do with the kids and all and everything and shit? Like, what are we going to do? So that's why, like, a lot of people don't like the sequels because they were never planned as part of the story. So Back to the Future is going to be a one and only movie, which I'm fine. Like, I like the sequels. I really like the third one. I'm weird because I like the Western one. Yeah,
that's weird because that's a bad movie. That's really weird.
One.
The one thing I will say about the trilogy is that they're very good at connecting all of their dots. All the way back to the Western one when they're putting up the clock and all that kind of stuff. So they definitely, it's a smooth transition.
There's a huge plot hole in the second one.
Oh yeah, what is it? Which one?
Okay, Jim, you know this. You have to know this.
Oh, which one?
The huge plot hole in the second one.
Oh yeah, when Old Biff goes back in time to give himself the sports almanac, and then somehow comes back to.
How the hell does he know how to fly the car? How does he know how to work the time machine and shit?
Well, okay, so Dave is more worried about the mechanics, but Jim is right. He actually comes back to the same place, which is what the whole idea is, that you're going in different places and you can't go back to the same place. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because when Marty and Doc go back in time to 85, they're in the dark timeline at that point.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. You're like, wait a minute, technically.
Well, no, you know what? It does work. It does work because he goes back in time, gives himself the almanac, that creates that timeline for him to go back to. So it does work. It does work. It does. That's the whole point. He goes back when he goes back and gives himself the thing, he creates that timeline. That timeline happens. So that does actually make sense.
Is the time machine already in 1985? I mean, is it already displayed 1985 on the time machine coordinates thing? Because if you're not, how the hell does he know how to work it?
This is where you're going, this is where you are, and this is where you've been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he probably had to figure it out. I mean, he kind of got in and went really fast.
Yeah.
Well, they found the cane. They found part of the broken part of the cane in there.
Yeah. And that's how they knew that it was him.
Yeah.
They found the broken cane.
I love how young Biff doesn't realize that old Biff is him. He's like, well, he told me he was a distant relative, but I saw no resemblance. It's like, really? Really? It was just you with old prosthetic makeup on, but okay. I'm going out, Grandma. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Jaws 19 graphic was good. Here's the crazy one, right?
Yes.
The Cubs winning the World Series.
Yes.
And then they did.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, the one of my big I like part 2, and I obviously like it more than part 3, but with part 2, it mirrors one so much. There's so many scenes in one that it mimics. It mimics the whole skateboard scene where he's skating around getting chased by Biff, and then he's getting chased by Biff Jr.
Yeah, the manure
and
stuff.
Then, the manure. And it's just like, I've already seen this before. Now he's just on a hoverboard.
Yeah, that
hoverboards still work on water. But 3 has what's her name? Clara, actress.
Yeah, Clara, and
she's in another time travel movie, which was not mentioned. Hold on, let me pull up her name here real quick. Oh,
which
also,
one?
part 2 caused like the whole personality thing with Crispin Glover. Crispin Glover sued Hollywood because of that movie, because they used his likeness. Which I want to know why they couldn't just get Crispin Glover to come back. Because well, I guess maybe at the time he was kind of already off the rails at that point of all the crazy shit that he was doing, like Mr. Farr and well, no, that was Willard was like
later.
20 years later. Yeah. Willard's that's a good movie though. I like Willard.
Yeah, that is
both
a good movie.
The original and the let's see,
the original with the baby scene. Oh.
Okay, what's her name? The chick from she was in what you call it? Time After Time. Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, you talk about Ted Danson's wife, right? What's her name?
Is she married to Ted Danson?
Yeah. They're still married.
Are they married?
Mary Steenburgen.
Wow. Yeah. And she was. Look at that. She was married to Malcolm McDowell too. That's pretty. Well, they probably met on the set of Time After Time. Time After Time. No one mentioned Time After Time.
McDowell?
I've never heard of it.
I haven't either.
Malcolm McDowell goes back in time to Jack the Ripper.
What?
You guys never seen this movie? Oh,
no,
wow.
Never heard of it.
You've seen the goddamn it, Final Countdown, but you haven't seen Time After Time. I should have. God damn it.
I said, God damn.
Yeah, they use the time machine to pursue Jack the Ripper into the 20th century.
I've seen that.
It's about H.G. Wells.
Yeah.
H.G. Wells uses his time machine to get Jack the Ripper.
That.
Malcolm McDowell and the chick from part 3. So she's in 2 time travel movies.
Thanks for reminding me about that, Jim. I have seen that, and I'm gonna have to find it.
It's post A Clockwork Orange, Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah.
It's the Scratch Cornea Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. There was actually, I'm looking at it right now. There was a TV show made out of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Was there really?
Yeah.
Holy damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No one. I was surprised. I was waiting. I was like, no one's gonna mention this. Really? Another time travel movie named after an 80s song or named before an 80s song.
Totally forgot about that damn movie.
Time After Time and freaking but going back to the Future.
So when he discovers that one of his friends is actually Jack the Ripper, Jack makes his escape using the time machine. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
like a Biff moment.
But yeah, going back to the Future, like especially part 1, I mean 1985, it's so good. Like, there's all the references. Uncle Jailbird Joey didn't get paroled, and then they go back in time. He's like, you better get used to those bars, kid.
Bars, kid.
Like, how can he not like it? I love it when Marty's never opened a Pepsi bottle.
That's right.
And then McFly shows up. Yep.
Oh, yeah, because the third one has that nasty one where he's got it in his mouth. He spits it out. Ugh. Okay, sorry.
Mad Dog.
Yeah,
Mad Dog Cannon.
So Time After Time is directed by Nicholas Meyer, I'm being told.
No shit. Oh, damn.
That's crazy.
Time.
Fun fact. But yeah, Back to the Future. I'm telling you, man, it should be your number one, or it should be in your top 5 at least.
Yeah,
It's
it should be in top. You're at least your top 5.
literally. He goes back in time and he's like, "No, Doc, you got to understand. Like, I'm from the future. I'm in a time machine that you built." And he's like, "Oh, really? If you're from the future, who's the president?" And he goes, "Ronald Reagan." And he goes, "Oh, the actor."
The actor.
Like I said, it's not. There's a bunch of movies that are like in that 6th spot, and that's probably one of them. And it's basically just because for me, it's just not massively rewatchable. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but if someone was like, "Let's watch Back to the Future," I would probably almost never say no, or almost never say yes. I don't know.
If they did Back to the Future like 2016, 2017, like a reboot, and then he goes back to 1985, and then the Doc character goes, "Well, who's president?" And they go, "Donald Trump," and then they go, "Donald Trump, the fucking hotel guy? No fucking way."
Biff character, dude. What, Biff? What?
The hotel guy.
The hotel guy?
The hotel guy? The guy who went bankrupt? But yeah, I'm telling you, man. And then 1985. Well, then they go to 1885, and then it's the train time machine, which they did a comic about. They did a comic about them traveling.
Well, they had a cartoon too.
Yeah. But like a time traveling train is really impractical, especially once you start going further into the future. Like you're basically stuck in traveling to. Granted, it can fly,
It can
but
fly.
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to make a train fit into the 1700 or anything before the 1800s. But
the tracks are all still there. Tracks are still there now, so you can use those tracks. If you were on a train and you're like, "Hey, we're going to go on this track into 2020," that track is still there.
But if you go back to like the 1700s, 1600s,
well, if you go prior to trains, then you got to fly.
And we don't know if in the future they get rid of the train tracks. Like that could be obsolete at that point.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's why it's got to fly. Although, and how do you make it work? Oh, just put some crystals in.
They knew that the part 2 was going to do so well that they're just like, "Yep, we're doing like here's the trade." Like they filmed 2 or 3 back to back. They spent so much money into both those movies, and to be like, "Here's the trailer." Like, "Hey, fuckers, remember when you bugged us for the last 4 years about doing a sequel? Well, guess what?
Here you go."
At the end of the credit scene, they give the trailer for part 3, or not even the end of the credit scene, like the beginning. It's like, here's part 3, and it's like, holy shit! Can you imagine what would have happened if that movie bombed? Like like people would be literally like searching for the forgotten Back to the Future Part 3. Like, what do you think? Like, you think it would have just like ended up like in a warehouse at the kind of like the Ark of the Covenant? Speaking of, David, you mentioned
they would have put it out. There's no way you spend tens of millions of dollars and not release the movie. They would have put it out. I mean, now granted, back in these days, direct to video was still a big thing and all that. So I mean, that possibly could have done that, but I imagine they would have thrown it out.
David mentioned the refrigerator thing, time travel machine, and the refrigerator thing was eventually used in Crystal Skull.
Yes. Yep.
He didn't go traveling time.
No. But
he protected himself from a nuclear blast, which is the equivalence. Ironically, it's the equivalent of the plutonium that Doc Brown put into the time machine in Back to the Future. Oh, someone mentioned Timeline. Did you guys ever see that one?
Yeah, that's a terrible movie.
Oh, was it the Paul Walker one?
It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Was Paul Walker in that? I don't remember. I don't remember any of the actors in that movie, honestly. I just remember they go back to like the 1400s and then they all.
It was Paul Walker and Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler.
Oh shit.
Really?
Gerard Butler, early Gerard Butler. Look it up.
Timeline. I saw this movie in the movie theater.
Yeah, I did too. We actually had like a pre thing. Like we saw it early. You get like these tickets like, "Hey, you can come watch our movie early and tell me how you like it." We were like, "Oh, this is some."
I got Transformers that way.
Mr. Swift Goes to Washington. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Holy shit! This movie's based on. Oh no! Wait, that's not the same one. Never mind. Oh no, it is. Yes, it is. It's based off the fucking guy who wrote Jurassic Park. He wrote a book.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
book.
Yeah, Michael Crichton. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
It's one of his books.
It's all right. It's not. I mean, if they went back in time to prehistoric times, it would have been cooler. The real
You think this
Jurassic
could be the new Jurassic Park? Is them going back in time?
Park. That guy's got to be loaded, man. That author, is he still alive? He's got to be still alive.
No, he's dead.
He's dead.
Passed away. Yeah.
Paul Walker's dead. I know he's dead. Yeah, I remember watching that movie, and then they kill the guy that speaks French because they don't trust the French, and they just kill him, and it's like, oh, that sucks. Like, you're just like in this class, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, here's a time machine. You go back in time, and you fucking die.
Ooh la la.
Like, we don't trust these
Now,
French guys.
I want to throw one out there, and I'm going to get help for it. It's not really a time traveling movie. It's more of an interdimensional movie, but this is one of my favorite horror movies. And I mentioned it a while ago, and it's Event Horizon.
Yeah, that's dimensional,
but-
so on and so on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much I had to mention it.
I don't know. I feel like I got too hyped for that movie because my buddy was like, oh, dude, man, like they go through like a portal in hell and it's really cool. And you're like,
Oh, he gave it away.
yeah, I'll go watch it. And then you watch it and you're like, well, like, because like what
It's just Hellraiser in space.
What I expected compared to what it was, because I thought like they were going to go through a portal in time.
No.
Or not a portal in time. They were going to go through the portal in hell, and like there's going to be like demons and shit. Not the whole psychological thing that they did.
Well, and also why I brought this up, Shout Factory's getting ready to bring it out on Blu-ray. They've got a Blu-ray, but apparently there was a bunch of footage that was shot that actually done that.
Where they go through
there's talk of like a completely different cut of this movie that I don't know. I guess the studios were like, no, we gotta rework this thing.
They got it, and they're bringing it. That's why it was pushed back from. It was supposed to come out in November. They pushed it back to March. And they announced the other day that they found the footage, and they got the footage. It's kind of old and crappy looking because they can't get it. But they said they've actually got to add it. You can either add it in the movie or you can watch it by itself.
Right.
So I'm like,
what's with all these cuts that are just coming out? Like all of a sudden, it's like, here's this cut and this cut, and it's like, why can't you just give it to us? Like, if you got it, just give it to us.
Yeah.
Well, for various reasons. One is studios get involved, and two, sometimes it's like, well, I mean, it's a different cut, but it's not necessarily better. It's just like, here's footage. That everybody wants to see the extra footage.
The Zack Snyder cut is going to be the greatest film. I don't get it, man, because everyone's like, it's going with the hype thing again. They're going to hype it up.
Yeah.
It's going to end the same way the other one ended. It's not going to be like it's going to lead into a whole new different movie. It's already like they didn't do anything with it. It's done. Like, go home. It's the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Well, even Snyder has said like they don't want to do another Justice League movie.
No.
So it's like I don't understand what's happening. I mean, obviously it's made to get people on HBO Max. I mean, that's the primary thing is get subscriptions up.
They tricked us with Wonder Woman 84, and now they're trying to trick them again.
Did you see Wonder Woman?
Oh yeah, it's awful.
Did you see Wonder Woman, Jim?
I did. Yeah.
I won't watch it. I can't watch it.
It's awful.
I can't watch it. I'm trying to. And every time I start to hit play, I'm like,
don't do it.
There's a good movie in it, but they forgot that it was there. So, oh well.
I want my dad back. Like, well, why isn't he getting his wish?
Oh man. Yeah, so
it's just like fucking bad.
Oh god.
So we did it. We started late, but we did it. That was a pretty good deep dive, I think.
Yeah.
For a lot of movies.
One of the things I was thinking earlier, like for the next episode or one of the future episodes, why don't we do a best soundtrack?
Oh.
Well, because Hot Tub Time Machine will win again.
Just say Kenny Loggins, you got it.
Yeah, it would be. It's basically Top Gun and Top Gun and Hot Tub Time Machine.
Top Gun, Footloose,
Caddyshack.
Yeah, I mean, shit. There's like so many '80s movies like that, like the Rocky IV soundtrack, the most
Oh, yeah.
patriotic soundtrack
Yeah,
of all
Vince
time.
Nicola. Yeah, Vince Nicola is great.
Karate Kid, the best around.
Karate Kid. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Freaking. Oh my God.
What's their name?
The
hell, and even we can even go into like Breakfast Club and freaking Weird Science and
Oh my God.
Well, a lot of those. Here's the thing, though, because if you're going to
Back to
talk about
School.
the best soundtrack, a lot of those movies might have one or two songs on it, but they're not going to be best soundtrack because you got a couple of good songs.
That's true.
You know, you got to level it up. You got to be Top Gun. You got to be
Top Gun
really moving. Yeah, because there's tons of movies that have like a good theme song, but they don't necessarily have a good soundtrack.
Who's good? Okay, which one of us sons of bitches is going to say Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing is not a bad soundtrack.
No,
like not
Dirty
in the
Dancing's
slightest.
Amazing. I'm gonna say it.
Even Patrick Swayze sings a song, man. I mean, it's crazy.
Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, Purple Rain, it's like a couple of songs, and then the rest of it's kind of like, eh.
Superfly. Why? I just Google search. I Google search best movie soundtracks. Superfly.
What?
Superfly's on the list. Like it's like 3 Marvel movies. It's Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther.
What?
Really?
Well,
How's that? That can't be on the list. I don't remember. Honestly, don't remember anything for Black Panther.
No.
No.
Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas.
Oh, incidentally, we're gonna wrap this up, but I saw Goodfellas finally.
Oh,
guys, I'm gonna tell you something because I'd never seen Goodfellas before. We talked about it on our gangster movie.
I swear you did.
No, I'd never seen it. It was one I had never seen. So I watched it, and now remember, I've seen Casino. Right, that was the one that I liked.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is just Casino. It's the exact same story. Oh yeah, it is. Now there's no casino, of course, but from a beat standpoint, like here's a guy and he gets his job and he meets Joe Pesci and Joe Pesci is a dick and Joe Pesci gets killed. Like it's Casino, like beat for beat. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Watch it again and think about Casino and you'll be like, oh fuck. Granted, Goodfellas came out first, so really Casino is beat for beat Goodfellas, you know, that's the reality. But I saw Casino first, so I'm watching this the way that has the talking over. You know, there's like a narrator on it and stuff. It's like, this is fucking Casino, guys. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. No, I liked it. I thought it was okay, but because it's so Casino, I was like, I've been here before.
I know what's going to happen. They're going to kill Joe Pesci, aren't they?
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese again, and both Martin Scorsese films. So
yeah.
Although one of them's based in real life, the other one's just fiction.
Yes.
Well, no, wait. Is the other one based in maybe there's some maybe. So what are we doing next week?
I don't know. I like the soundtrack idea. I think that's interesting.
Because I mean, because we could go like actual like music, like with like songs and stuff, like Top Gun and stuff, or you can go like instrumental, like John Williams,
the score,
Danny Elfman,
Titanic.
the Jaws soundtrack, the freaking
Star Wars.
Williams.
Well, yeah, I think you got to pick. I mean, you can blend it, of course, but I think you got to pick either a soundtrack, which is music, songs, and things like that, whereas the score is just the music side. So we'll see how we want to do that. Maybe we blend it. Maybe we do 2 different shows. But I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good quality thing. I mean, I think that the Batman score is probably Danny Elfman's last good thing that he has ever made in his career. Batman. Tell me what came after Batman.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Beetlejuice was before Batman.
But that's songs. That's not a score. Yeah. That's songs, not a score. I'm talking about just a musical score. Like he did the Spider-Man thing. Oh, I dare you to hum the Spider-Man theme right now. No, that's the wrong Spider-Man theme.
No, that's the only. That's the only one that matters.
That's what I'm saying.
Edward Scissorhands.
But what's the music? I'm not saying it's not good music, like within the context of the movie. But tell me, like, I could sit here and hum you the Batman theme. I can't tell you what the theme to Beetlejuice or what you just said, Edward Scissorhands or anything. You know.
Beetlejuice is like dun 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 dun.
So that's what I'm saying. I think because I like the Batman
agree.
soundtrack, the score, the Elfman score, but since
Men in
Batman, I don't
Men
think
in
he's
Black.
done anything that has been of any significant value
Men in
to
Black.
anything. I
That's
couldn't tell you.
Soundtrack.
It's got Danny Elfman and Will Smith on it. What more could you want?
I don't know what I couldn't tell you what the music is on Men in Black, and I just watched number 3.
I
So
was trying to think like, what? Oh, Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes.
So again, it's not. Again, here's the point. It's not that there isn't good music for the movie,
Yeah.
right? Like because there's lots of music that's good for the movie, but when you leave the theater, you know what the Superman theme is, right? The John Williams. You know what the Star Wars theme is. You know what those are. When you leave Spider-Man, you don't know what the fuck that music was. It's not. There's nothing in your head for that Spider-Man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not that it's not good. It's that it's like it. There's no impact from it.
I get that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
Like I have plenty. I'm a huge soundtrack collector, scores and soundtracks.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of soundtrack scores that I have that I'm like, I really like this movie, and I'm listening to the music, and I'm like, this is shit because there's no resonance. It's just music for the scene, and it doesn't move. It doesn't go up. It doesn't go down. It's just. So yeah.
The Planet of the Apes one though sticks with me because like it's like do 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 do, and then there's like do do
Yeah,
do dun, 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 dun. Now they're humming those movies. Tom's favorite soundtrack,
Yes.
Wild Wild West.
Wiki
And it's
Wiki
got a
Wild
giant
Wild West,
spider.
Jim West,
Wild
Desperado, Rough Rider. No, you don't want nada. None of this. 6 gunning this, brother running this, Buffalo Soldier. Look, it's like I told you. Any damsel that's in distress behind that dress when she meets Jim West. Hey, don't tell me I don't know what's going
I can't believe you. Oh my God, you know the word.
That's amazing.
You know, so you want to hear something funny about that movie? Is one of the guys who wanted to get that movie made, one of the producers or whatever. He was he was the guy that wanted to make the new Superman, the Nick Cage Superman.
Yep.
And there was supposed to be a giant spider in that movie.
Yep.
And of course it never happened, and then you go see Wild Wild West, and then in the third act there's a giant spider. Like that's exactly what was supposed to happen in the Superman movie. Third act, a giant spider shows up.
Yep, that's true.
Never mind.
That's true.
It's because of the Hollywood producer is the reason why there's a giant spider in
Was
Wild
it a
Wild.
kryptonite spider?
We could only
No,
hope. We could only hope.
It was supposed to be like a giant spider. It wasn't supposed to be like an alien. It was supposed to be a giant spider. It wasn't
What
supposed
the
to be like, yeah.
He can
And Kevin
deliver
Smith
it in
was
5
like, well, good luck with that.
seconds, guys. He could just go, and it's
Like,
gone.
did they not learn from it that giant spiders in movies just sometimes don't work?
Which I'm sorry.
Kevin Smith talked about that for a long time. He was supposed to write some of that Superman movie, and they kept telling him, hey, you need a spider at the end.
Yeah. Could you imagine a Nick Cage Superman? Like, imagine if Nick Cage ended up being Superman. Oh, good.
There's
God.
a documentary about that. You guys can
Yep.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, guys, we have done 2 hours, 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes. We have crushed the time travel genre tonight. Super fun, super fun. Good to see your lists are so basic bitches in their Back to the Future nonsense. Jesus Christ.
You guys have even seen time after time. I don't want to hear it.
Hey, that wasn't on your list either, buddy.
Well, because it's not because the other 5 movies are really good. Like I get as much as I like Malcolm McDowell, it's not a movie that like I really want to watch again. Like you see it once, you're like, all right, I get it.
Okay.
But it's good. It's good.
All right. Well, I'm going to go find it because I think that sounds kind of cool. So I'm going to go find that one. I am going to go find that one. And then David, you got to go find Godzilla versus King Ghidorah.
Yeah,
and
I think I might have that one.
I think you'll dig that. So that's it, guys. Episode 9, The Great White Buffalo, is finished.
Episode 9.
Episode 9, yeah. So next week, episode 10. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it will be soundtracks. We'll have to discuss what we want to do. But we will be back next week, episode 10, for some sort of movie, guys.
Might be.
Good times and fun. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Feel free to post. Feel free to post your top 5 lists in the in the comments, so that everybody can see them. We want to see those top 5 lists. Feel free to post them in the comments. We'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Keep it indie, y'all.